Hello, I'm Teresa Howson with the Manor at Bluewater Bay, and I'm serving as the chair of the board for this year's Niceville Valparaiso Chamber. We're pleased to be interviewing candidates today for local offices and hope these interviews will help you to make an informed decision. With us now is Parker Destin. Parker, thank you so much for being over here with us today to talk to us about your candidacy.
Well, thank you for having me.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Parker Destin. I've lived here all my life. I'm technically a sixth-generation Floridian. Destin gets its name from my great-great-grandfather, Leonard Destin, who settled there in the 1830s. And I own restaurants. If you guys have ever heard of Dewey Destin Seafood Restaurants, my family and I, we own those locations in Destin, and then I own a location of Dewey's in Navarre, Florida with my sister. I've been on the Destin City Council for about the last 4 years trying to make sense of the tumultuous politics over there, and have enjoyed my time on there trying to make sense of growth and quality of life and some of the things that, you know, are some of the greatest long-term challenges that we face over there. And I'd like to try to tackle those at the county commission level because my businesses are here. I've grown up here, and, you know, they're going to bury me here, and God willing, I'll get a couple more decades here, and I'd like for it to be a good set of decades, and it's going to be based on the decisions that are going to be made in the next several years, and I'd like to be a part of that process.
Certainly, well, thank you for that. What unique qualities or skills do you have that make you feel you're the best to serve on the county commission?
So I have had the benefit of being in private business my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that gives you usually a perspective of pragmatism that perhaps sometimes you don't get in other professions. And I think that, frankly, when you see tough decisions on balancing your internal budgets, hiring and firing, all the things that come along with rubber meeting the road, so to speak, in business, those things happen in government, and you have to have the stomach and the fortitude and the spine sometimes to know that, you know, this may not be an easy decision, but it's a pragmatic decision that we know is in the best interest so that you can pull the trigger, and you learn that in business usually, and I've learned that going through. I have the benefit of a legal education. A lot of times there is a serious learning curve within politicians who get into government because it's just a different language, and a lot of it is legalese. Everything is by regulation, ordinance, and case law. And there will be a learning curve for anybody who gets into these positions just by virtue of understanding the procedures, the processes, the hierarchy, the jurisdiction, and the authority that everybody has. And then how, once you learn that language and once you understand it, then you can push legislation forward. I don't believe that I'll have that learning curve, courtesy of having served once before, and two, the benefit of the previous legal, you know, I have a legal education background.
Oh, okay, awesome, didn't know that.
Yep.
What do you feel is one of the biggest challenges facing Okaloosa County at this time?
So one of the biggest things is, how do we continue to grow without sacrificing quality of life? How do we attract the right type of businesses to continue to invest in our local area, but also making sure that it's in a diverse way economically that ensures that we get the right type of people coming here. It's the right type of jobs that people put down roots for the long term. One of the biggest problems my generation has with returning home to Northwest Florida and in Okaloosa County is, well, there's only so many options from an economic standpoint. If you want to be in the military, if you want to be in the professions or service industry linked into tourism, you know, you can come back home. But if you want to do something else, usually you end up in some of the metro areas not coming back home and starting a family. And so we have to take a real serious swing at that. In a lot of ways, we can really start at the local government level, county commission level, starting making investments in the things that will yield those type of dividends from an economic diversity standpoint. We've talked about, I fought tooth and nail to get the right type of development within the city of Destin with working with Gulf Power to get our utilities undergrounded so that we can prime the pump and jumpstart the redevelopment of Destin in a more positive and diverse way. I have worked as hard as I possibly can with trying to attract different businesses to Destin. There's lots of opportunity in the North End with everything from making investments in tech, making investments in the actual infrastructure bandwidth, the ad valorem abatement program. The things that we have for our future that we could use as carrots to bring in economic diversity is one of the most important things that we can concentrate on. There's traffic, there's infrastructure, and there's tons of stuff that we could probably not capture in a 5-minute interview that we could really chew the fat on. But one of the biggest ones is how do we continue to grow and it be the right type of growth so that we can bring in the type of folks and family that will be here for the long term.
I think that's a very good point. Thanks for sharing that with us. Would you like to share some closing remarks to the voters?
Sure. To all the voters out there who are sizing up all the different candidates, I just hope that they understand that, I have a rich history of basically service of others. I don't enter politics with any illusions about who I intend to represent. I intend to represent the constituents. I have proudly served the citizens of Destin for the last 4.5 years without compensation. One of the hardest things we're going to end up having to do is balance the budget in 2021, and I volunteered my first year's salary, if elected, to balance the budget for the sheriff's office and for infrastructure needs. And it's with a servant's heart that I do those sorts of things because I really do love this community. And I hope they vote for me on August 18th.
Well, thank you, Parker. We really appreciate you joining us today and sharing your vision with the citizens and businesses of Okaloosa County.
Well, Teresa, thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it.
Our next candidate today for County Commissioner District 5 is Wes Vale. Wes, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I have lived in Destin. I've lived in Destin for 30 years. I moved here 30 years ago from Louisville, Kentucky, where I was in the jewelry business and the horse racing business.
Okay.
Owned a few horses and raced the Churchill Downs, and I love that. I have, about 4 years ago, I moved away from Destin just to move into to Fort Walton Beach to get out of the traffic. Well, I decided to run for county commissioner, so I had to move back to the high traffic area. So that's what I'm doing right now. I go to church, Corpus Christi Church. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran. I've been working in being self-employed for about 45 years. I promote events. The biggest event I promote is the Emerald Coast Home and Boat Show, which is September 26th and 27th at the Emerald Coast Convention Center. And by the way, the event is going on this year, so we're going to have it. So,
okay.
And I work with all the chambers of commerce. I'm a member of all of them, and in the last few years, I helped a lot of nonprofits raise money, like One Hopeful Place, which I've actually donated $17,000 to them. Special Olympics, Children in Crisis, Homes for Heroes, and the Fort Meade Kiwanis Club, another $15,000. So I like to help out the community. So that's what I want to do.
Big heart. Thank you for that. What unique qualities or skills do you have that you feel make you a great county commissioner?
I've been self-employed for 45 years in the business world. So I deal with all the chambers of commerce. I deal with a lot of business people. I've dealt with over 1,500 business owners along the Emerald Coast. So I think I'm qualified. My business skills and my business background give me a qualification to be a county commissioner. I mean, to be a county commissioner, you have to have a thick skin, by the way, because you can't please over 50% of the people. So, but sure. I want to take my chance and do that.
Like politics in general, you need that thick skin.
Absolutely, right.
Okay, and what do you feel is one of the biggest challenges facing Okaloosa County right now?
You know what? There are a number of them. The thing that I'm working on for one of the most part is stopping the tolls on the Mid-Bay Bridge. Mm-hmm. I know you'll probably have some other candidates saying that, and you'll have some candidates that come in here that are on the Mid-Bay Bridge Authority that will tell you this can't be done. And right now when you come across the Destin Bridge, from Destin, you get to the Mid-Bay Bridge, you come from 4 lanes to 2 lanes, and it all backs up. You get across the 2 lanes, you get into Niceville, you got 8 lanes. The state will build another bridge there and make it 4 lanes as soon as we pay off that bridge. That bridge was built in 1992 or 1993 for $85 million. And since then, they've collected $330 million in tolls on it. $330 million. And today, they still owe $250 million on it. Now, you can say, well, how is that possible? Well, they borrowed $125 million to build the Spence Parkway at 5.8% interest and sold bonds on it. So they really only owe $60 million on it because $180 million of it is interest. So my passion is to get the tolls taken off the bridge. We can do that with Gulf Coast Triumph funds. We can do that with the state and get our United States congressmen involved, pay off the bridge, stop the tolls.
Okay. All right. Do you have a closing message you'd like to share with the voters today?
Yes, I would. a lot of people, I'm running for County Commissioner District 5. When I was the first candidate to register in August last year. Right now there are 4 candidates running for County Commissioner District 5. There are 3 Republicans and me, and I am a Republican also. There are 4 Republicans running. A lot of people don't realize what happened back on June 11th. On June 11th, I registered to run as a non-party affiliate. And I'm still in the Republican Party, registered Republican, but what that did for me was that bypassed the primary on August 18th. I'm no longer in the primary on August 18th. I'm already on the ballot for November 3rd. So the winner of the primary on August 18th will have to campaign and win, and they win one thing. They win the right to face me in a runoff on November 3rd. I'm running, and what this does is it opens up the race now. It's an at-large race where all residents and all voters can vote in that race. Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Independents, non-party affiliates, everyone can vote in that. And one of the reasons why I did it, because the world is changing so much. I mean, there's a lot of moderates in there. A lot of us have brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and relatives that don't want to vote this way or don't want to vote that way. They don't want to vote for the party. They want to vote for the person. So I'm running as a non-party affiliate November 3rd.
Awesome. Well, Wes, thank you for joining us today, and your will is to serve the citizens and businesses of Oglala County. And thank you for your service.
Thank you very much for having me here, and I appreciate everything the Niceville Chamber does for all of us.
Thank you. Our next candidate today is for County Commissioner District 5, and it's Richard Johnson. Thanks, Rich, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm honored to be here.
We're happy to have you here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, of course, I'm Rich Johnson. I'm running for County Commission District 5. I'm a conservative Republican. I've been living here in Okaloosa County for around 26 years. I got a job here after law school. When I moved here, I had nothing. I didn't have any family or friends, and I didn't have any money. And in fact, I even had less than no money. I had a bunch of law school debts. So since that time, obviously, well, not so obviously, I met and married my wife. And that was 22 years ago. We have 3 children. They all 3 go to the Niceville schools. I started at Blue Water Elementary and on to Ruckle, and now on to Niceville High School. I have 2 at Niceville High School this fall, as of this fall. One is 16, one is 14, and one is 11, all girls. It's been, what a great place to live and work and raise a family. I just love living here. I'm an attorney, and I've been practicing now, as I mentioned, for 26 years. I have a title company with 3 offices, one in Navarro, one in Pensacola, one here in Niceville. I also have a land development company. I've been building residential subdivisions for about 20 years now. Just enjoy the area as far as hobbies, things like that. What I like to do is obviously spending time with my wife and kids, but enjoying the resources, the natural resources we have here, the beaches, the water. I certainly love to fish and hunt, and all those things are here in great abundance. That's who I am, and I'm running for county commission, and look forward to the opportunity. It's been quite a challenge running for office, but I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Awesome. Well, we are blessed to live here. What unique qualities or skills do you have that you feel are best suited to be county commissioner?
Well, the basic one is this. I believe that running the county government is oriented, generally speaking, towards running a business well. And I've been doing that for 26 years with my practice and my title company and building residential subdivisions. These jobs require that I am able to manage budgets. I'm responsible for those budgets myself, to pay them back, to hire people, to build roads, to build sewer, and to be fiscally responsible. Every penny counts. And when you look for those pennies and save those pennies, it matters on the bottom line at the end of the day. And so that's why I think I'm particularly suited for this job. I also teach on base and different online for Florida Institute of Technology. I do some graduate level studies for some of the students that are at Florida Institute of Technology. I think that bodes well as well in sort of a peripheral sense, but nevertheless I enjoy working with people. I enjoy the opportunity to learn from others and be given the chance to lead others to excel on their own. Leadership to me is service. So that's what I bring to the table. I'm not a career politician. I have no interest in politics in terms of making it a career. I don't need it as a career, but I do want to serve the county that I love.
Very well, thank you. What do you feel is one of the biggest challenges facing Okaloosa County today?
Well, look, I think that's obvious to anybody that's living in the world today.
Right.
It's COVID.
Yeah.
It's our health. That is, it's critical that our government take every action to inform the members of our community so that they can be safe and well taken care of in their homes or in the hospitals should they need be. But COVID isn't just a health issue. It's more of a dynamic one, and it's sort of seems to be lost in the shuffle. Jobs are critical, and a lot of people have lost their jobs. So obviously we don't want anybody to be sick, but not being able to pay the bills is something that will make people physically sick too. And so we have to focus on getting people back to work as we combat this pandemic that obviously no one here in this country is to blame for. So that's number one. When you do that, you need to focus on our infrastructure, which is behind the curve.
Right.
The county has taken some bold action lately to do what needs to be done in the north-south corridor. I want to be a part of that team, and naturally fiscal responsibility. We're going to have to save our pennies because we're obviously our tax receipts are, maybe not tax receipts so much, but definitely sales receipts are going to be down for the county because of the change in tourism, the change in local business. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Do you have a closing message you would like to say to our viewers today?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen and learning who I am, right? So I'm a newcomer to the political scene, but I think that I'm the most qualified candidate for the job. I am a conservative Republican. I believe that there's three things that we need to focus on as a county, and that is infrastructure, that is fiscal responsibility, and that is jobs. And as I've built my career for 26 years successfully, I have done all those three things. I have built roads and subdivisions. I have built sewer systems. I have hired people, and I've managed my money well. I'm a conservative Republican. I ask you for your vote. My name is Rich Johnson, County Commission District 5. Thank you very much.
Well, Rich, thank you again for joining us today and willingness to serve our citizens and our businesses of Okaloosa County, and we wish you the best.
Grateful for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Our next candidate for Commissioner District 5 is Mel Ponder. Mel, thanks for coming to join us today and speak with us about your candidacy.
Thanks, Teresa, for
Tell
having
us
me.
a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Honored to be here. First, thanks to the Niceville Valparaiso Chamber for putting this together. Born and raised in Ocala, Florida. I'm a third-generation Floridian. My wife is from this area since she was in about 6th grade. We've been married 28 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I know she's a tremendous blessing in my life. Puts up with a lot from me, but she's an amazing, gracious lady. We have 3 wonderful children, 25 and 23-year-old boys, and my daughter's 15, and so she's at Fort Walton Beach High School. And so we've started this journey. Had the open door, thankfully, to get involved politically at the local level as a city councilman and a mayor down in Destin, and then when the State House opportunity created itself, when Congressman Gates moved onto that field, it had an open seat, and we felt we should get into that. And with Commissioner Wines making the tough decision to retire, he was an outstanding commissioner. It created an open seat, and with us having a freshman daughter here at home, my wife and I prayed about it and felt like we still felt called to serve, and the best way to do it is closer to family. And so that's our quick little journey of how we got to this point in time, but that's a little bit about me.
Certainly understand that, and want to thank you for all the work you have done at the state level for our community. It's been fabulous.
Thank you. It's been an honor.
What unique qualities or skills do you have that make you the best candidate to be the commissioner?
Well,
Come out County Commission, excuse me.
Sure. Oh no, that's okay. No problem at all. You know, I think a culture of honor, but for me, I think the ability to bring people together. I mean, for some, I would say for some reason, but whether it's in government or in the church, in the community, you know, society by and large wants to focus on what we're not, and you know, especially in the political arena, they want to kind of fragment and divide. But I love to find our point of common ground, and when you focus on what unites you as opposed to divides you, you get more things done. And so what I like to do is find that point of common ground, the point where we can all fight on the same song sheet, and then as we do that, we just get more things done. The other thing I think that I'm very passionate about is servant leadership, and so I believe that as you serve, not just to the gift and call and significance of an area community, but the people within it, it's amazing how you can rise to a new level. And so, which doesn't surprise me that even in the state of Florida, our hospitality industry is the #1 tax contributor to the state because it's a service industry.
Sure.
And so I think servant leadership, the ability to, even my tagline I've had even since I ran for the House is just let's work together. And because I believe that us is this family culture we have in Okaloosa, even if you go beyond our borders, east and west, it's a culture of family. And I think that coming together, you can get more things done.
Absolutely, and I like the servant leadership. I'm a big believer in that myself.
And you're a great example of that.
Tell us what you feel is the biggest challenge in Okaloosa County right now.
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, clearly things with COVID have changed quite a bit. And so in the years ahead, we're going to be faced with several things in our community, but the first is the budget. And so when you look at that, I mean, I've worked closely with Mr. Hofstede, asking almost weekly what's going on with the budget. I mean, the county itself at this point in time is expecting to take a $5 to $6 million hit. And that's for tax shared revenues coming in from the state. And so we got to be mindful of that. We got to make sure our frontline services like protection, the sheriff, those things are all funded. But making sure the budget works out. Thankfully, our property appraiser has said we may have a 6% increase in property values, about $3.5 million, which will help offset it. We have some federal CARES money passing through, which will help offset it. But we got to be mindful of the budget. Secondly is infrastructure. When I've talked to the city managers and mayors throughout the county, infrastructure is always mentioned first, whether it's new roads, road widening, road resurfacing, you name it, from the top of the county to the bottom. And thankfully we have that great project up in Crestview going on now, the widening of PJ Adams. But infrastructure is a very big deal. And I think with that, when you look at the general revenue and the half-cent sales tax, you can actually chart a course that can be seen throughout the county. And then lastly is workforce development. For time, I won't get into that, but that is a key area of focus for me to connect, whether it's transitioning military or school students through our school system. How do we give them opportunity to stay here and grow here as much as possible?
Certainly, absolutely, that's awesome. Is there any closing messages you would like to share with our voters?
Well, thank you for the honor you've given me to serve you. I started in local government as a councilman and mayor, gone to the State House, and would be incredibly humbled and honored by your support to come back home. I'm running on 4 pillars, family, faith, freedom, and forward. And for what it means, and real quickly, is make sure we preserve and protect our culture of family here. It's one of our identifiers, and I think it's got to be preserved and protected. Faith, validating the faith-based community and authorizing them to come and have a significant seat at the table. Freedom, protecting our constitutional freedoms, our fighting men and women in the military, and then also forward, also personal freedoms and business freedoms as well through deregulation. But forward, what do we do from this point going forward? I hit a couple things with Teresa, but I'd be honored by your support. August 18th is our election. I'm Mel Ponder, running for Okaloosa County Commission, District 5.
Well, Mel, thank you again for joining us today and for your message to our voters and your willingness to serve the citizens of Okaloosa County.
So, thank you, Teresa. Appreciate it.
It's an important time in our world and our community, and on behalf of the Niceville Valparaiso Chamber of Commerce, we hope these interviews will help you make the right decision to get the right people into leadership positions in Okaloosa County. Thank you for your time. We wish you well.